ready.
Where you go?
I go. He will join in. He will join in. I promise you. I'll be tempting him. So can you say your names, maybe, so everyone?
Maria. Gareth.
Tony. Simon.
Tony. Rachel.
Terry.
Mary.
Tony.
Yeah, lots of Tonys.
There's only one.
Good answer.
His name is Tony.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyone who is here new, who didn't really hear that stuff before? Oh, that's good. That's good because especially for people who come here first time, there is often an impression that we are talking about ideas. Like there is only one. Like, oh, what a fascinating idea. Now, how am I going to experience the idea that there is no separation? Like the idea is mind-boggling or mind-blowing. Like, you know, you got to have the courage to even think that thought. It feels this way. That, oh my gosh, there is only one. Like, form is emptiness. Or like Jesus said, Father and I are one. What an idea. So at that point, when we get really kind of attracted to the ideas and we get hypnotized by those ideas, and they feel so vast. I mean, you know, people have ideas about running business or whatever, boring. Everybody does that. And I have these fabulous ideas about oneness in the whole universe or no self. My gosh. So very often this is where we actually try to sit with the ideas and find out how to make true the idea. And this is the point when we want to share this idea. We want to bug somebody else. We want to have friends that will be sharing and getting high on the same concepts. Like I used to get high with my girlfriends on the idea of enlightenment, just hanging around and building ourselves up and getting so excited. Oh my gosh, what an idea we're thinking. And it feels like we are talking about a philosophy here, about ideas that are better than other ideas, that religious ideas or other ideas. And that is absolutely not what is going on here. It feels this way originally, but this is not about embracing better or bigger or more kind of compelling ideas. So this is not also about giving... Hey, stop it. Sorry. About giving these ideas or sharing those ideas with other people. It doesn't really matter whether other people embrace those thoughts or believe in those thoughts. Because really, non-duality, it often starts this way, at least for the ordinary seekers, because there is a lot of people who embrace that truth naturally without the process of seeking. It sometimes happens with age, or it sometimes happens with accidents or sickness or whatever. But they don't have to go through embracing it with the mind and then stepping back from the mind. It's like a round way. It's not really. It doesn't have to be this way. But it often happens that because I got bugged with this virus of the mind, there is an enlightenment or there is no separation. I want to spread it, I want to share it, I want to impose it on others. Or I will start advertising myself. People come to me and listen because I'm the Bodhisattva, I'll help you to wake up from suffering. That is all not what the non-duality is about. It is not about realizing the ideas. It is not about finding truth in the thought. That's the other way around. The ideas are actually description. They're expressing what has been realized beyond the ideas. So if we try to embrace what is being said and sit and contemplate on it and see how this is true, is the other way around. It is what is true when the ideas are absent. Like the idea of I am separate versus the idea I'm not separate. How about absence of ideas? How about if there is no thought whatsoever? What is the truth in absence of idea? Or let's say there is an idea, I'm the body, or I'm the mind, or I'm the self. This is what we were conditioned to believe. Now I will acquire or get this mind-blowing idea that no, I'm not the body. There is no self. There is no separation. Ah, yummy. It feels like so fresh and new. But this is still an idea. What if I cast them both away? Like, I don't know, I am the body, I'm not the body, I am the mind, I'm not the mind. Just cancel, if those ideas, the non-dual ideas and the typical conditioning ideas cancel each other out, and we live in the space where the only idea that I could express with the mind is I have no clue. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's find out what is true without the ideas of God or no God, or oneness or lack of oneness. What is true in the absence of any sort of images, mental images, because that's how the mind works. Even when we talk about space-like awareness or sky-like consciousness, right away, because the language, the words are structured the way so they represent something out there, something else, an object. Language is an objective language. So right away, the big, vast ideas like sky-like awareness become an object, and we start looking for it. Now there is a me looking for that awareness, trying to achieve or rest in that awareness. Awareness is not a thing. The word is representing an idea, and the idea is a mental image, but awareness is none of it. Awareness is the space or the screen in which the idea and the words and the language are manifesting or expressing itself. So what we are pointing at thing that is totally beyond, prior to any language or any concepts or any thoughts. And if we are already excited on the level of thinking, on the mind, with the realizing the truth or finding the true self or losing the ego or whatever, it is very, very hard to, from this perspective, from the viewpoint of understanding, it's very, very hard to find what has never been lost, really, to find that one which is prior to the thinking through those ideas. Because mind is not really designed this way. The way mind operates is it has absolutely wonderful capacity to find objects, to represent, to make symbolic language, to see objects as symbols, but it can't see what it is appearing on, because it doesn't have to actually, for the mind to embrace the background on which it plays out, it would have to stop being itself and get out of the background, and there is nothing out there of the background, so it can't be done. So from the conceptual thinking, that non-dual truth cannot be grasped, cannot be embraced, or cannot be experienced. The only way to experience that non-dual reality is to stop thinking. And then again, can we stop thinking? If I'm not the doer of my thinking, can I stop it? No. But again, there is in the whole play, in the whole idea of everything being one, of life being just a manifestation, just being a different vibration of patterns, creating that different shapes and forms and bodies and thoughts, and everything just happening as part of the functioning, just like the grass grows, just like the bird sings, just the same way thoughts appear and heart beating is happening and hair grow. So that whole life spontaneously appearing as all the forms is capable of stepping out from that conceptual thinking and seeing it as an object, as another object in manifestation, in the way Buddha told us that emptiness is vibrating into forms. That very emptiness can realize itself as the background on which it manifests the forms of itself. So the awakening doesn't really ever apply to the me or to the mind. The mind never wakes up. The mind is a stream of thoughts. They're mechanical. They are like codes in the computer. How the program or code in the computer can wake up? The mechanical thinking cannot wake up. And the I, the entity that we were conditioned to believe that we are, is basically a stream of thinking. So the I is, I'm the body, I'm that old or that young or that ugly or that stupid or that beautiful, whatever. Those are just the ideas. And that set of ideas constitute the entity, and that entity is being embodied or is being identified with. This idea, this set of idea, or this made of past experiences entity can never ever realize the truth, because it is mechanical, dead set of thoughts. So the thoughts cannot wake up, it makes no sense. So now, the only thing that is to realize the truth is the truth itself. And the truth itself doesn't really need to wake up. The life doesn't need to wake up. It is functioning perfectly well. It knows how to pump the blood. It knows what to do. It knows how to do the seeing, the hearing. It doesn't need to wake up. But it may happen this way, that the veil of conceptual thinking drops off, and the world is not being interpreted through the conceptual thinking anymore, but is seen for what it is. Like thoughts are seen for what they are. When I see the thought, the idea, oh, there is no separation. How wonderful is that? How am I going to experience this? And I got excited about it. And now I see, oh no, but it's just a thought. There's nothing in it. It's just a thought. Now the life realizes that this idea is not to be embodied. It's not to get excited and high on it. Same as idea, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy of love, or whatever. It's just a thought. Like, who cares? It's just a thought. Now, it's not the thought that knows that this is a thought. That's the pure awareing, or the pure knowingness. The pure knowingness, awareing, or being conscious of the content of it. So when the thought is recognized by as a thought, it's not the thought doing the recognizing, because thought is dead. Thought is just, it's like a writing, like a words or code or writing. So the thought doesn't have any capacity. We could say it's dead, but really it's nothing is dead. Like, yes, everything is life manifesting in forms. But for the sake of pointing, okay.
I just saw a bit of movement outside.
Okay, now add something.
All right. When I kick it off, as usual, can't teach you anything, I can't tell you anything, I can only point, or can't speak what is it?
You can speak to anybody because
Yeah,
there isn't
can't, I'm not the body, or you're not the body, or not the mind. Tell you all that, people think it's a lot of jargon, but it's not. When you look into it, you'll see the basic truth behind it. There's nobody that can ever teach you. If it's totality, if it is the one, there's nobody can teach you anything or tell you anything. I'm not speaking to anybody, not speaking to any mind, that's the other one. You know? When you realise that body, mind, entity, when you investigate it, they're just patterns, shapes and forms that are appearing in the manifestation also. So then you might recognise the futility of seeking. No, you can't become or be anything when you are already that. The seeking is the problem. It's not a matter of becoming, trying to become something, it's a matter of discarding all the concepts and ideas and things we've taken on board and believed in without question. A little bit of questioning, it all falls apart and left what we call the natural state, as in nature, not some conceptual conceived idea or body, mind, anything, but just as it is in nature. That tree out there is functioning naturally and effortlessly, and the flowers around it, and the clouds moving around the sky, it's all functioning naturally. Same with your breathing, your heart beating, your hair and fingernails going. It's all a natural functioning. So it's not a matter of becoming something, it's a matter of discarding all the concepts and ideas and images that you've had. Throw them out. The idea of a mind even. Nobody can show me a thing called mind. And when you investigate it, there's no such thing as mind apart from thought. And when you investigate thought, which thought has any substance or any reality? None of it. That'll do for me. Go on. Carry on with what you're...
Okay. Maybe you could tell us about the mask, the persona, because nobody can say it better than you do.
Who can talk about a mask? Can a mask talk about itself?
Yeah.
That's what they call. That's where the word persona comes from. Persona meaning the mask, an ancient language, and persona. Latin, the mask. So we've got this mask of identity upon ourselves, a conceptual image. So we put on that pure presence awareness and seemingly separate it and isolate it into a persona. And we take this persona or ego to be real. Investigate that and you'll see there's nothing there. And it's the ego that's the cause of all your problems, a belief in an ego, a self-centre, or a me, or an I, whatever you like to call it. But there is no such thing as mind, even. Show me a thing called mind. Have a look and see for yourself. And immediately, how would you express it? You say, my mind. Who are you talking about? Whose mind is it? You say, my house, my car, my coat. You know you're not the house, car or coat. Maybe you're not the mind either. It needs to be looked at and seen. So this thing we call mind is just a vibrating pattern of energy. We relate everything to the mind. But there is no such thing at all. Just a matter of thoughts, ideas and images which are happening, appearing. And we take them on board because we never question them, taking them to be real. And add them to this conceptual persona, this mask we've got. They're mine, me or mine. How can the totality divide itself or express as me and mine? So I'm not talking to anybody, I'm not talking to any mind. Can't teach you anything, can't tell you anything. How can one shadow picture on the screen talk to another shadow picture and tell it something? Look at that mirror behind you, it's full of reflections. And one of those reflections ask the other reflection what it's thinking or what it's saying, it can't. One reflection, each reflection is a fresh and new expression in that mirror. And there could be no reflections outside of the mirror. And the difference between the mirror and the reflections in it, and this we talk about, the mirror needs something outside itself to reflect in. And all this that's going on right in this immediacy is taking place in that immediacy as that essence, seemingly vibrating into different pattern shapes and forms. But the pattern shapes and forms are Maya, and I tell you, that's all in the different texts and different scriptures. Maya is illusion, they tell you. It's a phenomenal manifestation. Look up your dictionary, look up the word phenomena. It's that which appears to be. So all this, you, me, and everything else is appearing or seeming to be. When you investigate, though it's seemingly very real, solid and substantial, put that body under a microscope. See if you can find a static point anywhere in it. Every cell in it is suffused with that intelligence energy. And that is what you are. I call it that. That's a label we put on it too. That's not in. It's not a label. Anyway, that's enough.
Thank you.
Take it from there. You go on.
Okay. Yeah, so the idea of being a separate person, or the mask, or the ego, or being the mind, or being the body, is it feels wrong when we say that, okay, the world is not real, it is just Maya, illusion of phenomena, it's made of atoms, they're all empty. But it feels even more wrong when I say, I don't exist. Like, what a nonsense, of course I exist. Yeah, but I as the individual, I as the persona, the mask of identity, of personality, or the ego, I'm not real. Like, come on, I do feel very real to myself. I feel that I am, I feel that I exist.
And that's a mistake we make. We say it's not real. It's a pattern, shape and form that's not real. The actuality is the one reality, it's appearing, shaping, patterning and everything. But the pattern, shapes and forms are not real, they're just shadow pictures on the screen. The screen, the basic screen which everything appears, that's the one substantial thing, is it? It's really got no substance or any independent nature, but that's all there is. There's nothing you can postulate outside of this space like awareness. Nothing at all. So it's all appearances, all phenomenal appearances, and that's seemingly real. Real in its essence, but not as it appears. The one reality.
Yes, and nobody is trying to tell you that you don't exist. What the pointers are pointing at is that you are not what you think you are. You are not the set of thoughts that you have of yourself. So the idea that I'm the ego, I'm separate person, I'm inside the body, or I am the body, those are ideas, those are thoughts. Like, I can't negate the fact of my existence. I am, nobody can knock me down from this, how you call it? Knock you down this perch? Yeah, I know that. Like, gosh, this is not a belief. This is not the idea. This is not a thought. The fact of existence is not an idea. It's not something that I was told that I'm alive or I exist. No, it's inherent sense of being here, of being present, is something that is there is there for sure. Like, I can't deny it. But now, on top of that sense of presence or that awareness of being, I put the concept. I am is the absolute ultimate truth. But I am body is a lie. I am a mask of personality. That's a lie. I am a person or the ego or the entity. I'm separate than you or separate from the space. That's a lie. So this is about finding out rather than taking up interesting ideas and trying to think your way through embodying or experiencing those ideas. It is about dropping the ideas and figuring out what is truth, what is the true, without the thought, without the idea that I am this or that. I am, sure, nobody can deny it. And even if they deny it, they have to be first to say I am not. They have to exist to say I don't. So it's undeniable. Now, what I am, that's a different story. And now it feels like when we are talking about the conceptual image or the ego or the mask, we're saying that this is a bundle of thoughts, of concepts, of past experiences and past thoughts. Like, I'm a woman because I was told I'm the woman. I was a girl before, but whatever. But everything that we learned and we accumulated in these files of the computer that are here in the memory, and we relate to memory, that is everything that we learned, that we know. That's the conceptual image. But there is another component to it. There is an emotional component. Like, not only I'm set of thoughts, not only I'm description, if I believe I'm the image, I'm description of the looks of the body or the predominant likes and dislikes of the mind, but I'm also preoccupied with the story of me. I'm identified with the story of me. And the story of me is more important than any other story. I will spend 90% of time working and roaming around the story about me. And if I find the moment of compassion, it will be only because I happen to naturally relax to the little break of the me, of the obsession about me. What is going to happen to me tomorrow? What they think about me? What am I going to do if I run out of money or health or age or whatever? So that identification with the story is a bundle of thoughts. The conceptual image is made of past experiences and conditioning. And identification with the story brings back the complete certainty of my own existence with and makes it identical with the story about me, with what I am. So now my certainty of existence becomes identical with the body, which can see, hear, taste, touch, smell. So now I am the body and I am seeing. Now I am the mind and I am thinking. So that sense of presence put on that jacket of the body-mind, and it thinks itself to be the other. The basic life sense of presence believes itself to be the other, the separate, the vehicle through which it expresses and as which it expresses. But is that really true? Can I be the other? Can I be the body? Can I separate myself from everything else that is around me? Well, I can't, because the body is made of the elements from which the whole manifestation is made. We can say from atoms and subatomic particles, and everything else is also atoms, subatomic particles, which are not even particles. They are field of probability. They are waves of energy. But we can also look at it in the ancient way, that they are elements. Like there is space in which the body appears. There is air that the body is living on. Without the air, body doesn't last. And that air is completely exchanging. Like I can't breathe in and out the same air twice. It's on the move all the time. Water is being, 80% of the mass is water, plus the water is being given in various forms, in food, in water, in whatever. The matter from the body is from which it is built. We could say are the atoms, and we could say is the food that is being transformed in the whole machinery to different bones and muscles and whatever. So it isn't really separated in any way. The separation that we perceive comes only from the learning process. Like the baby is looking out the world and everything is just totally undistinguishable from anything else. It takes few months for the baby to start recognizing familiar faces. And it takes another few months to learn that those faces are actually not appearing and disappearing from the field of awareness, but they exist somewhere out there and they come and go in the linear way. Because the brain is being conditioned. So the way we perceive the world is from early learning. How do we pick out through the attention, how we tune the eyes to actually see separate objects. And that's wonderful. That's why what a ride, what a beautiful dream. Like, if not for it's just unthinkable how magnificent it is, that the capacity to see separate objects, to hear separate sounds, to experience separate experiences, tastes, touch, smell, balance. That's the magnificence of the whole expression. So,
if you didn't have that vehicle, the body, how could it be expressed?
Exactly. So you as life, if you drop off the idea of being separate object that is looking for the way home, you as life, out of love for being, express as the being in the variety of forms and give yourself the being that can transmit and receive and interact with the being in other forms. The space has a being, the bodies have the being, the carpet and the curtains, they all have the being. And this is all one being vibrating into different forms, vibrating into sounds, into light, into X-ray, microwaves. They're all waves, they're all vibration. So different vibration, one life, one basic essence, or on the level of energy, one field of probability. There's no, the distinguishing comes from the mind. Again, this is the machinery that interprets the world, that labels everything. And through the labeling and assuming an existence of things, it actually creates and receives those things. That's what happens when you actually see the play as not the player, as the space. If you understand that without the conceptual image of being isolated and separate, actually see yourself playing the dance as life. So it isn't embodying the idea and trying to see it, trying to get into it and land it and imagine how would it be to actually see everything. It isn't about that. This is what happens when you stop reinforcing the idea. Our gardener is working. If that idea is dropped off, the space of thinking clears up. There is no noise, mental noise going on that is labeling everything all the time. There is no trying going on, trying to grasp it or trying to understand it. In that relaxed field of not trying, life is going on just like this. And just like this, there is seeing happening. There is a lot of things being seen, and there is a process of seeing. And there is no need to reinforce the idea that now, in that seeing, they are forms that are separate and they are seer that is separate. There's no need for that. That requires thinking, conceptualizing. If that thinking is pushed aside, there is just seeing. What a miracle. Nobody does the seeing. Nobody really, really understands how the life does the seeing. We can check how the equipment works. We can build the cameras that are kind of modeling the same thing. But how the life does the miracle of seeing is completely unknown. And putting it in thoughts is almost like murdering the miracle. Like leave it a mystery. And same with everything. Same with hearing. Same with touch, taste. Now, if there is no thinking, those sensory experiences of the mystery of the world leave your breath, take your breath away. Just leave you here. You just sit and if there is quiet here, there's no idea about escaping this moment. Like, oh, it shouldn't be that way. I have to think about what I do next. Or what am I going to do tomorrow? What is going to happen to me? Without all that self-obsession, life shines forth and is juicy and is always alive. It is constantly changing. Nothing stays the same. There are no sounds that stay the same. There are no sights. The attention is smoothly traveling and looking at itself. The world is actually embracing itself with no idea that there is anything that needs to be different, that needs to be changed or addressed. There is natural relaxation, and this is the natural state. And this is the state in which the cat is sitting there on the carpet, completely relaxed, with the senses open, his ears are open, he's got this fur, the longer hair that are, every movement of the air is reported. So he's aware of every piece of a skin on the body, and he can smell things, and he can even see when I'm looking at him. He's kind of sensing it all. And that sensory experiencing of the being is so delicious if it's not clouded or veiled by the conceptualizing that comes on top of it, that nothing really needs to be different, nothing needs to be changed, and there is no need for any other form of eternal bliss, because this deliciousness of being is ever fresh. It's not that, I felt it once, I know what it is, now give me something else. No, it doesn't exist in the past. It's only here now. This moment is only here now. These sensations are only available right now. The sense of being, the pre-sense of being, is the background on which sensations are playing out. So sensations are content of the moment. Content of seeing, content of hearing, content of tasting, touching, smelling, even content of thinking if there is a thinking going on. They are the content. But deliciousness of being is prior to the content. This is where there is no veil, there is no interpretation going on, the mind is quiet, or there is complete, I don't know and I don't care. That sort of natural state. This is called natural state. And this is the state to which non-duality is pointing. The state that is there always, already. The state is not even a state, it's a stateless state, because it's not something that you achieve through certain practices or exercises. It's not something that you arrived at. It is prior to states. It's like the surface of the ocean. There are states there. The ocean can be calm, or can be stormy, or the waves can be 5 meters or 15 meters high. But at the depth, at the bottom of the ocean, there's quiet. It's just water. It's just wetness. That's the natural state. Whatever appears on that state, the emotional kind of disturbance, or the physical pleasure, or intellectual contemplation, that's the surface. But the state of being, the depth of being, is there already. It can't ever be taken away. This is the knowing that I am. So that knowing that I am is what the non-duality is pointing to. And again, on the beginning of the search, when we get high on the ideas, I want to experience oneness, I want to experience the mystical union with the universe and achieve the great ecstasy of eternal bliss. Yeah, what a wonderful idea. Go on drugs. I mean, it's not going to last. It's not going to last. But what non-duality is saying, that even if there is, and of course there are pleasurable states. I mean, come on, chocolate cake is a pleasurable state. And then and the bliss is also, or orgasm, they all beautiful, pleasurable states, and there's nothing wrong with them. But they're not lasting. They are just momentary coming and going content of the awareness. So if there is such a thing as a bliss and you're not experiencing it now and you hope to experience it tomorrow or in 10 years or in 10 seconds, it's not worthy because it's not here now. So it is coming and going. And if it comes, it will go. It's temporary. It's just a firework. It's just a chocolate cake. So it doesn't matter. It's really the idea, and I was attracted to those ideas 10 years ago. Enlightenment was an eternal bliss and a mystical union, and this is what I was after. Absolutely, the I, the me, the persona that felt inferior, that felt that void inside, that I'm totally unlovable. I want to relieve from that pain of being contracted and being shy and being worthless. Of course, the opposite would be the ecstasy. Because that was suffering. It was absolute extreme suffering. So, relief from the suffering. When the idea of being separate entity, that is someone that is sitting in a body, living in a body, and running the show, and switching on the seeing, and beating the heart, and growing the hair, if there is someone there and I am that one, then of course, I will be preoccupied with myself all the time. But if that one, if you look within and there is nothing there, there is no one who does the seeing. There is no one who does the thinking. They're just objects floating in the awareness. They're just thoughts floating in the awareness. And this transmitter-receiver tunes into certain thoughts. Like, there are certain food preferences or music preferences in this particular set of patterns. But they're not my preferences. They're just set of preferences that are conditioned with that personality pattern. But I'm not the personality. This is my speaker. This is my binoculars or my cameras. This is the way life is having a glimpse looking at itself. This is a dream character looking around and interacting in the play, in the dream. And it knows, as the character, it doesn't know anything because it's dead. But as life knows itself through the glimpses of getting its reflection in the other. Emptiness, it gets reflected in the forms. Because oneness can never ever know itself. Because it's one, it can't move out, it can't even know what it is, it can't even know that it is one. Unless there is the other, unless there is a reference point. So the knowing, the duality, came about as a play. This is a play. This is a ride. It's just a ride, like Bill Hicks used to say, the comedian. It's just a ride. You can enjoy the ride if you don't take it too seriously. Because if you do, oh my God. You want to add anything?
There was a Tibetan Buddhist book out, written, God knows when, way back in the, I don't know, it was Padmasambhava or something, called Self-Realisation Through Seeing with Naked Awareness. Now you don't need to read the bloody book if you look into that title. Mm-hmm. What's naked awareness? What does naked mean? Undressed, bare, left as it is. So I reckon that this awareness that nobody was unaware in this room right now, everybody's aware. Don't add any, well, you, I can't say do or don't, but recognise there's nothing needed to be added to it. And Nathan Gill, you might have heard of him, he's dead now. He had a little bit on thing. He says, Bob Adamson put a book out. What's wrong with right now if you don't think about it? He says you don't need to read the book. It's all in the title.
Yeah.
And it is if you have a look at that.
Yeah.
Again, naked awareness and stop what's wrong with right now, don't think about it. And myriads of different texts will say it. Stop the mind, stop thinking. And they say, well, don't do that. It's only the thinking is the problem. And it's not a problem if it's understood. And you understood it's just ways of expressing in different words. You can think as much as you like, but you're not bound into it. Recognising the word's not the real, the description's not the described, the map's never the territory. Recognise those things. So it's very simple and always and ever there. But we miss out and try to acquire, become or get something because we're always relating to myself. Instead of seeing the self as the one self that's patterning, shaping, forming, expressing, it's everything, we're broken down to me and mine, myself, my car, my house, my body, my mind. When you investigate those things, you see they're none of those things. There you go.
Okay. Oops. Yeah, so basically what it is to be recognized and what it is to be realized moment to moment is to see things for what they are, to see thoughts for what they are. Like the idea, I am the body, is an idea. That's not fact. That's not reality. If there is idea that, but I am inferior, well, that's again idea, that's not the fact. Yeah, but it feels, it feels the way that it feels contracted. Yes, that's a feeling. The feeling, recognize thought as a thought, feeling as a feeling. The feeling that I am contracted on, I'm in the body, is just a feeling. So who knows, who is aware about this feeling, who is conscious of that feeling of contraction? That will be pure life. So moment to moment, there is awareness, awareing, or life, being aware, consciousness-ing, like being knowing, and the content. So whatever comes behind the idea I am, or the experience I am, the experience of existence, is going to be a concept. Like I am, that's all I know. But if I don't put any concept behind it, then what am I? Am I the body? No, that's a concept. Am I the sense of inferiority? No, that's a feeling. Am I the person? No, that's an idea or mental image. So I am. But what I am, where I am, it feels like, okay, I'm located here. But do I end here? Like if I don't assume the shape of the body, yes, I exist, and yes, I'm here. But where does the here end? If I don't see, let's say I look up and I don't see my body, or I close my eyes and I don't see my body, and I completely take away the idea that this body has certain size and it exists in certain bubble and not outside of it. If I drop those thoughts, then the idea I am and the idea I am here doesn't end. It doesn't mean that it extends to the whole universe, because the universe is an idea. It is an idea. Like you could try it. Just close your eyes and sit as if you had no idea where do you begin and where do you end. Like totally just being with no form or shape or distance. And with the eyes closed, the space disappears. We need the eyes open to have the further and closer. This all comes with the senses. When the mind is quiet, the time disappears. So if we sit without the idea of space and without the idea of time, what's ever inside or outside or further or closer? Nothing. There is just pure plain being that has no beginning and no end. And I am that being. When I open my eyes, the mental images and concepts start coming in. When I start thinking, the idea of time, of future and past start coming in and reinforce the reality. And that's beautiful. The reality is to be totally loved and appreciated the way it is, how real it feels, how beautiful, how magnificent it is. But again, it is to be recognized as the as the ideas, as the eyes giving you the sense of space, the mind giving you the sense of time, the time-space coming really only through the conceptual interpretation of the plane being, through the conditioning in which that plane being divided itself into different forms of being. So that is not to be unseen. It's wonderful to see space. It's wonderful to see objects. Actually, we don't see space, but we see the objects. It's wonderful to see seeming separation and know it for what it is. It's just like at night when we are dreaming. We go to sleep and we create the body. The body which is dreaming is lying flat on bed. It doesn't go anywhere. But the body that I have in the dream is moving about, is waving hands. I don't see the face usually. Few times I saw it, but it wasn't that face, it was different. But usually the body is moving. Sometimes the body is flying. Sometimes the body is falling. Sometimes the body is like something is chasing it and it can't move. It's this nightmares. But there is a body and there is a world. In the dream, I'm closing my eyes, and the brain is, or whatever its life is expressing through the neuronal flashes of the information beats and creating the reality that exists only in the dream, and it feels totally real. It feels solid. The mountains feel like they've been there for millions of years. The buildings, you can climb on the buildings, they're real. But you wake up and where is it? Where all that reality disappeared, where the body that was moving about disappeared. The body was lying on bed. So the world that we kind of experience in the dream, and sometimes people, well, not everyone remembers the dreams, but if they do remember dreams, they can experience 5-10 dreams a night, like 5-10 different realities a night. That's how creative that life essence is. But they're all nothing. They're all made of nothing, just like this one. Just like this one, which is so difficult to recognize because we feel, oh yeah, that was just a dream, but this is real. Yeah, but in the dream, I thought that was just that was real. So it is the analogy that is worthy of looking at how real the dream feels when we are asleep and how unreal it becomes when we wake up. Because in the same way, we can't really wake up from the dream, but we can wake up to the dream. We can realize that this is a dream, that the dream character here and the dream world there, and waking up to it, knowing it for what it is, makes it light, makes it cheerful, makes it easy. It doesn't necessarily mean that the dream will disappear and I'll be just plain nothing. It will at times, yes, because, I'm closing my eyes and the dream disappears very easily. But the dreams comes up again, and the waking up comes up again to the dream, and from the dream when I close my eyes. So the invitation here is just to recognize things for what they are. If you think you are the sense of meanness here, that the entity that is contracted and that is in resistance, you are not. This is just a feeling in the body. Because when I adopt the thought that I'm unworthy, that very thought will change the chemistry of the body, will start moving chemicals, the hormones in the body, will start producing cortisol, will feel terrible, will put the blood out of the inner organs to hands and legs, create fight-flight effect. That's what the believing in the thought does on the physical level. So of course, if I believe I'm the person and I'm inferior, there will be an emotional component, there will be a physical component. There will be different chemistry in the body. So it feels like, oh my gosh, of course that's true, of course that's me. See, this is all real. But who knows about that? This is again the moment when this is the content of awareness. There is a knowing about the body, about the thought, and about the emotional component and the physical component of that, what the body is reflecting in the thought. So this one is all being known, being witnessed. Witness is a difficult word because very often that idea of witness brings up the kind of during the meditations or different practices, we are formulating or creating another fictitious entity that is the witness, which is witnessing the ego or the content of the body. This is also another mental image. There is no such a thing as a witness, it's just an image. But witnessing, the process of being aware, awareing, knowingness, doesn't need the agency. It doesn't need anyone who would do it. I mean, same as seeing. The seeing is happening. It doesn't need the believed in entity that does the seeing. Nobody can do the seeing. Nobody knows how it is happening. Or anything at all that is, no activity in life requires the medium or the agency for the life, someone between the pure life and the body or whatever. It doesn't, it feels like there is a person that is taking decisions or making choices. But really what is going on is the idea of the person making decisions and choices. There's no one here doing anything. There is no dwarf or Santa Claus sitting inside and pulling strings. The body knows what to do. The body knows how to change the cells or grow the hair. There's no entity doing it. And there's no entity thinking thoughts. Because if there was one, there would be only positive, happy thoughts. Nobody would think thoughts that I'm unworthy. Like, come on. So if the thoughts are coming up and I'm not thinking them and I can't stop thinking them, then obviously even thinking is not in my hands. And if thoughts are not in my hands, how can I make decisions? Decisions are thought-based. If I have two thoughts, one to go to cinema and one to go to theater, and I'm choosing one over the other, who is really choosing? That thought came really strong and really colorful and really appealing, and that one came blunt. There's no choice required. It's the obvious thing that is happening. The thoughts already contain everything that enables them to move about and live, just like everything in the appearance is alive. Just like the cats don't take any decision or choices or don't have any conceptualization, if I give them two types of food and they will pick one that is, they resonate more. So life is really easy without any agency that is coming in between. And when everything is naturally, by that life, recognized for what it is. Thoughts are thoughts, feelings are feelings, emotions are emotions, physical sensations are sensations. And that's it. That's all what is ever going on. The knowingness, the awareness of the content, and the awareness of the awareness. The knowing about the knowing. The knowing is going on, and it is self-aware. It is self-conscious.
I've got to give them a chance to ask questions. Otherwise we're going overtime again. Not sure.
Oh, really? Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Okay, so please join in. If you have any comments, any doubts, or any questions, or anything at all that you would like to add or share, or...
Most of what we're doing here is looking at what's happening. But what's the difference between noticing it and having it immediately self-evident? There's obviously a difference between manual noticing of this quality experience and there being immediately obvious. In other words, enlightenment is something that happens. What is that exactly? What's the mechanical difference, if you like, between the sense of being a person, the sense of being localized, and not being so? If that is the way it is at all, and I'll ask you a question. So, in other words,
yeah.
Is it that the sense of being localized goes entirely, or still there in combination with recognizing yourself as the field at the same time, or what? What's the actual difference?
Go. I'm not jumping in front of you.
Okay, you start.
If you're not relating it to a localised point, where's it going on?
But the sense of being localized, is that the result of a subtle kind of thinking, or is it a natural quality? Or is it the sense of your being over there, is that the result of subtle thinking, or is that quality natural?
It's natural, because Is there an over there and here when you look into it properly?
I can see there is a flat screen, in a sense. It's a flat field, sort of. But
It appears to be.
But there's also the sense of being positioned in space. I'm here, you're over there. Is that sense of being localised, is that natural or the result of mental projection?
It's conceptual. When you look at it, is there any separation anywhere? Appears to be so, but
It's part of the functioning, really. It's like if you didn't have the pair of eyes that are looking from certain angle at certain things, the functioning would be much, much more challenging. Like the same way animals are built. You know, when the cat is jumping on a tree, it needs this sort of a setup of the machinery to use to be able to function. But it is not a problem. You know, if you recognize that this set of, you know, this angle through which you are looking using the body is helping the body function, but you, as life, are localized everywhere, in every body. You have different experiences through different body. But for the functioning of this one, yes, there is sense of locality here. Because otherwise, how would you find the door? How would you get out here? How would you move? Like if you have the car, you also have sense of locality, and it's a little bit bigger, so you don't, you know, smash the cars going on the side. Like I'm driving a motorbike, it's much smaller, it's much easier because it's almost shape of my body. Car is bigger. So the sense of location is part of natural functioning and it's not a problem. And it is conceptual, it is assumed, it is coming from the mental interpretation.
that's what needs to be recognised, it is.
But it's not a problem.
Does that effect, or does the effect of being localised go entirely, or is it still there?
It'll still appear to be so. The appearance is still... But the difference is if you know the truth about it, you're not bound into it. Everything will still appear separate and apart and dualistic and all the rest of it. But is there, when you've investigated and see there's only the one essence, patterning, shaping, forming, expressing is anything, you can't direct it to any locality or place at all. When you say, I am here, what are you talking about?
The body.
Can you...
I can see both aspects. There's both the sense of being localised as a body here, or another thing over there. At the same time, there is a sense of being the overall...
And if you looked into the body, can you find a point in that body?
Sorry?
Can you find a point which is the centre of that body?
There's no centre as such,
Hmm?
no.
No.
Centre as such.
No, so you can't really...
Sensations, tingles,
But it appears to be so, doesn't it?
It's the mind, but yeah, I was wondering, I mean, there's a difference between when people come to this making this kind of thing, it's about noticing quality of experience, what experience essentially is. And yet other people describe enlightenment as something falling away. So what's going on there? Is there something that falls away or
Yes.
not? Or what?
You see, it's still a relationship. Who's it falling away from or to? Again, we go back into the conceptualised and relativity, dualism. Can you pinpoint a place in this universe where you can say the centre of the universe is? Any point or any spot at all? And the Earth's rolling around the sun now. What point is it at right now? Is there a centre in space to measure it against?
So relativity is falling away. It's the same way as...
There's a sense of being a person, I mean, sense of being a body.
Yeah.
The body is the centre as such. It feels that everything's around myself in that sense. But at the same time, there's also the overall experience and feel, the whole sensory feel. But I just... Enlightenment is often described in terms of something falling away. Is that the case or not? I mean, is it something to wait for? You know what I'm saying?
It's really a recognition. Like, you know, when you were a child, you might have believed in Santa Claus and the Santa Claus was real. And now, did you kill the Santa Claus when you realized that it was a fiction? It was a phantom. It was the myth. That was an idea that, that was supposed to bring more of a magic into the childhood. So this falling away, it's really falling away of nothing real. Like if you think you are a Santa Claus or a little dwarf in here that runs the show, and suddenly you see, oh my God, there's nothing there. So the falling away is really nothing falling away. It's just like a house of cards that is completely disappearing because it was a mirage. It is a rainbow there inside. There is an idea. It's not true.
I think two things get talked about. Like you're talking about the concept of, I must be locating the size of my car or whatever, and I think there's that sort of thought you talk about. Because whenever anyone asks me the question, is there a sense of self, I deep dive and it goes to that no meaning making, and there is nothing there. That I get no sense of a self. Because every time that question is asked, it's just not there, and I've never seen anything like it. Other people talk about a sense of self that they feel, and I think that might be more what they're saying is subtle thought, because I think that comes in after, like when the meaning making just pops in, just next. And then people might kind of imagine a sense of self. But I think this energy walks through that door without me thinking about it. And no sense of self is attached to that whatsoever. But I think some people look and they go, oh yeah, I feel the sense of self here. I don't get that one. I never have seen that one there. I deep dive and it's just, I'm not meaning making, it's not there. It's not located, and I'm pretty sure this energy just goes that way. And I don't think there's a sense of self attached to it when it happens. But then there might be a subtle thought about, oh, how big is this car right now? There might be some subtle thought.
And also, pain. The body will experience pain and will only experience pain of this particular body and not the other body. So that gives you some sense of location, which is also kind of functionality. Like, you don't, if you identify with the body and you say, this is my pain, then it is a sense of location is really, really strong. But if you understand that the body is experiencing pain, but you are the awareness, that's not a problem.
It looks like a subtle thought just pops in. It's pre, where is that pain coming from? And then there's, where's the pain coming from?
But it's part of the functioning, isn't it? Well, that's what I think. The sense of the selfhood idea that there is, this is me, that's you, sort of thing. I feel the pain when I pinch myself. You don't feel that same pain. That's something that arises in awareness as our part of our operating system. But then again, when we go to sleep, that sense of selfhood disappears, and in the dream can be quite different. The idea of the self or what we are in a dream is different to the concept we pull on again when we wake up.
You've got the flat ocean. An energy stirs and moves through and causes a little wave to it. Then another wave comes behind it. Is the wave behind it saying, I'm not that wave? When they're both water? Who's going to differentiate it? Who differentiates it here? The believed in entity.
Sometimes described as undifferentiated beliefs, implying that there's no distinctions at all being made. Therefore, no spatial relationships at all. So, U.G. Krishnamurti, for him, describes it in that way. It's just a pure, it's completely flat. So there's no differentiation at all. The whole lot just fucking goes. It's just pure. So I was wondering, is that the way it works? Does the sense of differentiation fall away entirely, or was it known in combination with awareness of oneself?
Well, whenever you're embodied, you're going to think, unless you get brain damage or something like that, and you're going to think in the same way. In the dual pairs of opposites, good, bad, pleasant, painful, happy, sad, you'll always think that way. But the difference is that the whole scripture is saying is know the truth. And the truth will set you free. You're free of the belief in all this division. There is no division, never was or never will be, though it appears to be so. What are you? The screen. You're the screen in which it all appears on, which is that emptiness, silence and emptiness, stillness. And that's not contaminated or corrupted by anything that appears in. And things will continue to appear. But you're not going to, knowing you're not that, you're going to believe in it again. It happens here all the time. Like, say things are going on and I'll say things and do things. Where before it had meant a lot doesn't mean anything now, because the basic screen is always there. Don't have to go and look for it or try and find it. You know that every thought, feeling and emotion takes place on it. And it's never been contaminated or corrupted by anything that appears in it.
as you experience it, is it only the screen, or is it a combination of the screen and
And the content.
the illusion of three-dimensional depth?
Well, have a look at that mirror behind you. What do you see?
What you see in the mirror.
Colours, basically.
Reflections. Don't you see reflections in it? All sorts of bodies, minds and everything is reflected in the mirror. You can't say they're not there. But go up and try and grab a reflection out of the mirror. You can't. You can't say they're not there. You can't say they are there. But they still appear to be. And you know, and you've investigated, you know there couldn't be a reflection if it didn't have a reflecting surface to appear in. And that reflecting surface is the mirror. Is that mirror ever corrupted or contaminated by any of the reflections? Reflections come and go in it. And there, the thing with the mirror needs something outside itself to reflect in. But with this world, everything is in it. There's nothing outside of it. But there's just, as I pointed out, phenomena, definition of phenomena, that's what their appearances only. Vibrating patterns of energy that are appearing real.
Also that idea, what was this idea that everything is undifferentiated? See, this is one of those beautiful ideas that I started the meeting with. We hear the magnificent idea, oh my God, there is no separation, everything is unlocated and undifferentiated. How am I going to imagine that idea and embody it? Like Krishnamurti used language, everyone is using slightly different language of pointing. And if we try to follow the language, and your meaning of undifferentiated is quite obviously different than Bob's meaning of undifferentiated, and he's explaining it different way, and Krishnamurti is explaining it different way, and we don't really have much choice. You do come up with the idea, and we do come up with trying to explain the ideas, and this primordial error coming up that, okay, I love the idea, I'll try to imagine how it feels, and I will try to compare if I'm feeling this way yet or not yet, or how can I modify my feeling to actually embrace what they're pointing at. This is never going to happen this way, because realizing the natural state is when the mental processes actually stop, when the comparing stop, when trying to imagine what he meant or where is the idea pointing, when that stop. And of course questions are totally valid and are absolutely welcome. Yes, something does fall off. And something that they call location, some other people call it self-obsession, some other call it the mask of persona, the mirage that falls off, and some yet other comes that, you know, the whole mental processes relating to the me, they fall off, or everything is undifferentiated in a way that whether this body has toothache or this body has toothache, well, it doesn't really matter, no commentary goes on. There is no idea that, oh no, this one should be good and it should happen to somebody else. That differentiation goes off. The conceptualized differentiation goes off. But the seeing is happening because what they say, you are already that. You are already in that natural state. If you don't think so, and you wait till the seeing will completely change and you will start seeing differently, and you will start locating things differently, or hear things differently, this is not how it happens, because this state you're already in. You are already that fully enlightened, pure life expressing through the body and as the body. Is nothing that you need to do to become what you already are, because you are that. The only difference is that there is an idea that, no, I'm not that yet. I have to do something to come back to my natural state. You have to stop doing something to come back. You have to stop trying to grasp it and imagine it. And then you come back, but then it feels, yeah, but that's boring. That's nothing. Yeah, that's just like being an animal. Yeah, but that's it. On the beginning, it might feel this way because we are still interpreting and comparing it in the mind. And mind gives us such a thrill. The dreams in the mind, such a thrill. So comparing to that, the bluntness of being kind of feels like, nah, I wouldn't be interested in this. But this is only initially when the mind is still involved. But the more attention rests on itself, the more the mind steps out, because for the mind it is nothing, boring, bullshit. So
Sagara tells you, he says, we try to grasp it with a concept, and we fail. is you're bound to fail because it's non-conceptual awareness. You can't grasp it with any concept. We look for the answer in the mind. The answer is not in the mind because that's all the mind does is conceptualise. All the concept is a mental construct. We're trying to grasp it with some mental construct and say, this is it. Go on forever. Just see it as it is. Everything as it is appears to be you, me, and everything else in this room. That's how it appears. But you can't put the labels or concepts on them with any belief after that, any really energy or belief in them.
That's the most disappointing moment when the mind is waking up from this beautiful, appealing ideas of there is something better, something bigger, something more profound and more pleasurable than this. No, it is just this. It is just this as it is. Now, what make it unpleasant? What make it unbearable? Only thinking. Like Bob mentioned the title of his book, What's Wrong with Right Now If You Don't Think About It? Like, what is really wrong if you don't think about it? Yeah, but I should experience some fireworks. I should experience more pleasure. Well, only when you think about it. Oh, I should see things located in a different way. Only when you think about it. When you don't think about it, whatever is happening, even if there is pain in the body, but there is no idea that it shouldn't be there, is nothing wrong. But hi, that's it? I mean, that's the enlightenment? Come on, what a scum. There's nothing. There's nothing here.
Saying chop wood before enlightenment. No, before
Exactly.
enlightenment, chop wood. After enlightenment, chop wood.
Yeah, chop wood, carry the water, before and after. It's nothing really, because it's a natural state.
You sometimes describe though as a kind of an event. So with in Eugene's case, he described it as the whole big fell apart.
One bullshit, yeah.
Something happened though. You can't say it was nothing happened. There was some. Now, I'm not saying that it's important to take a genetic form in that way, but there is something that happens.
Look,
Yes.
what, the question that you originally asked only arises from someone that's still seeking.
Sure.
Okay, and that someone that is still seeking is still looking for an answer. And the question that you're asking, it wouldn't matter what anybody said. I don't give a shit who it is. Krishnamurti, Jesus Christ, Nisargadatta, Bob, it won't matter. Whatever answer they give you is not going to be it. It's not. You'll get various different pointers and you'll get various different answers from everybody. The real question that I'd be posing to you is, have you looked closely and tried to identify who it is that's still asking that question? That's the only way. The only way you're going to come to that you feel is there to be had, if you like. The only way you're going to come to that is for you to disappear. Then when you disappear, all those questions disappear. And the notion of being local, not local, separate, not separate, goes. Like, completely goes. And then you are, or if you like, then there is the realization of the absolute.
Is it a case of manually noticing that, or does that kind of thinking that produces it tend to be yourself fall away itself? Like, is it a natural falling away, or do you have to sort of notice it manually?
It's natural. It's something that just happens by itself. Okay. So there's no you there that can do shit.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, that's pretty clear. Okay, but there's also awareness there. There's an intelligence there. It's got nothing to do with you. The idea of who we think we are anyway, when I say that, okay? So the mere fact that you can be aware of thought processes that go on in your mind, okay? You can be aware of that, true?
Yeah.
Okay. So that awareness...
So, I can see there's no person as such, but that's as a manual noticing, if you know what I mean. Right? I can distinguish between the conceptualizations and the raw sensory experience. But that's a sort of a manual activity of noticing it, as distinct from typically.
But who's
Manual
who's
versus-
noticing
Or
it? And
Is it-
who's doing it manually, right?
I'm inquiring, so
Yeah, but when you say that, it sounds like I'm noticing it, or
No, sure,
I switch a
it's
button that makes
just a
it
phrasing.
function.
There's a process of noticing as distinct from the quality being immediately self-evident. If you know what I mean.
What's the difference?
I've noticed the self-evidence, so like basically I'm here, I don't feel like I've come here for any particular reason, there's a here-ness, right? Pointers come through, some don't, mostly it's just observation. 2 days later, bang, there's an empty gap, nothing's going on, and then there's like a little notion, or a memory of a notion that was just there before, and a relevant pointer also pops up. All three of them are sitting there, and there's like a dropping, and sometimes I've seen it either side, like just the no thing, and then a little belief that was there after, not necessarily just before, and a pointer that seems relevant, and it just bundles up. And because it's not really sensory of free will, it was just like pop, pop, pop.
And also that is, I think, what Terry pointed out beautifully, the moment when there is no relating going on, the questioner dies out. There are no questions anymore, because the moment when there is really, like Cliff was asking you, who is noticing or who wants to know, who is having the questions, there is still some sort of a concern or preoccupation with finding out the right answers. So there is still some relating going on, that there is still someone here who is curious, and that's beautiful. That is to be acknowledged. And that one who is curious and who wants to find the truth is the seeker, is much more subtle in your case. You're not identifying with the body. You know there is nobody in the body. So it is coming to that level where it's really very, very subtle. Because ultimate falling off of that seeker means falling off of the seeking, and means there are no questions. Like everything is absolutely obvious. And there is not even a temptation to put them in words. It's not even a... So as long as you have questions, stay with them, ask them, but see who is asking, who is curious, who wants to know, who doesn't know yet, because there is an idea that there is something that you don't know yet. While if the mind is inactive, like Sin Ming says, stop talking and thinking, and there is nothing you won't be able to know. Everything is obvious, it's known, it's just this, there is nothing else to be known. But then the mind comes with the questions, with the ideas. It's absolutely not to suppress the questions. Totally not. If they come up, my gosh, wonderful.
But you said there's noticing going on, the process of noticing, that's what you said. Now, that's all that's happening, the noticing or the seeing. When you say I see, you've related to a subject. I see there's a...
Words. There's a difference between actively... the words are all different.
I know it is.
Yeah,
Just
they
give
are.
it your best shot. You're right.
Mhm.
Just go for it.
I just don't think manually noticing the distinction between raw sensory experience and the interpretation of it as structures and space and so on, as distinct from that fatness being automatically evident. So in New G's case, he described the whole thing as all fell apart. Or there's something happened. It's not nothing. But I'm just wondering what that actually is, and what's the process, if you like, between going from manually noticing to actually going.
Okay. So in my case, in my experience, the very, very, very last thing that was seen, my experience with this was that the process that I seemed to go through, it had nothing to do with me, so I want to clarify that, yep. But the process that I seemed to go through was the neti process. Not this, not this, not this, not this, not this, yeah. And initially that was caught up in just individual isolated little thoughts. Not this thought, not that thought, not that thought, not that thought, not that feeling, not that description. No, I'm not the critic. I'm not. And that took a little while, yeah. The very, very sitting really close. This is the sense I get. You're sitting really close. I got stuck kind of where you are. It was kind of, and there was this sense of, I understand, but I still feel like I'm here.
Yeah, I
Still
can see
feel.
there's no one here as such.
I know.
But
I get it.
still feels the habitual sense of being now,
Yeah.
I can say like manually see past that. I can see that it's a 2D field.
Yeah,
But that's a manual.
understand. No, look, I get it. I totally get that. I absolutely
What's the
get that.
difference? Or what's the process or a way to like going from that manual noticing to just being immediately?
Okay, so that what you were talking about in terms of the localized experience, okay? The reason that I was still experiencing that localized experience, what the last little bit, the last little thing that illusory self identity was hanging on to, and it was the last thing, the absolute last thing that I saw, yeah, was that it was hanging on to that sense of presence, that sense of awareness, that sense of aliveness. That's why I felt local. That's why I've still felt here, kind of, even though I knew I'm not the body, I'm not this. I'm none of it yet. And that's what I saw. That's what I saw. And when I absolutely saw that, and it was just, you just got to keep turning in. You've just got to keep turning in. No matter how many times that you think you've done it, in terms of trying to search for this self-identity, yeah? And when you think you've done it, search again. Because there'll still be something there. Absolutely. Whilst you're feeling localized, there's still an identity there.
Yes.
Yep, still an identity. But
It's not subtler thinking process.
yes.
It's not gross
Yes.
linguistic thinking. Like,
Yes.
I anger.
Yes.
It's the sense of being.
Yes. Yes.
I can even see past it, but that seeing past it is still a manual thing I have to do to see it. As distinct from being effortlessly.
Yeah. Okay. So just turn in.
So,
Just
Really though, it's that built in afterwards very quickly that you were doing it.
sorry.
Is that built in afterwards very quickly, just the little notion that you were doing it? If you come
Speak
right
up,
back,
Tony.
if you can come right back to the tiniest moment, you might be able to just catch that that's just built in afterwards. That, oh, I did that work, I did that. If you can,
Just not like my face.
Yeah.
but if you get down to more to the micro, you might just see a moment where it just happened, and then a moment where that came in, oh, I did that. A little ownership.
I like this idea. Like I was thinking today, driving here, someone was sending me text messages about.
Speak up.
Someone was sending me text messages about what I needed to do next week about this project, and I think I've got to do that. And I'll ring them on Monday. Oh, if that doesn't happen, something else will happen. And oh yeah, I'm going to make sure that. Oh golly, this is just a whole lot of thinking. I just need to get rid of this thinking, and then I think, oh, well, the thinkers are thought even, and then it all just disappeared, and maybe that's the moment of enlightenment that you talk about, or that people talk about. I don't know, that sudden realisation that the mind's creating the whole shebang, and that's all it is. It's like that mind process is going on. I'm taking notice of it, thinking that there's some sort of whole lot of stuff I've got to do. And then thinking I don't need to think this, but that's just another thought. And the thing that I'm thinking this is just a thought too.
And so is the question. Every question is also just a thought. Without the question, there is no problem. It's just another thought.
In my case, it happened through complete desperation, depression of a breakdown. Okay, now we've all been there. Okay, and in that, and I've been seeking for a long time. Blah 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 blah, and like come to Bob just before that. And in that sensation of desperation, whatever, I'm not saying that that's the path that you need to take to it, you know, but for me that's how it works, is that I recognised, and it was about, I don't know, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, maybe half a minute, that there was no localization at all, right? And I got fucking shit scared, right? Because when you see it, that event that you're talking about, it's actually no event, it's nothing. It's just like, for me it happened like that. So I've got to blame that. I have to, you know, thank that relationship breakdown in one way, that, you know, and it was there for like, I don't know, 10 seconds. There was no, and it was just awesome, it was amazing. It was just, you know, there's no, we're all pointing to it right now, okay? So that's how it happened to me. And then, you know, wow, you know, like, there's no localization. And then I came back, because you come back, yeah, in duality, you know, I'm reinventing my music, I've got a single out at the moment, I've got to have Instagram photos all the time, you know, like, you know, I'm inventing my duality, you know, like, it's happening all the time, and I'm a yoga teacher, I teach people, all that stuff. But that event, whatever you want to call it, was no event. It was just, you know, something that
And you're trying to come back to it?
no.
Good.
No,
Good. Very good.
no, it's there. It's just there. But you know,
Wonderful.
but you know, here I am. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
I teach yoga, you know, whatever. Now I teach no yoga. I call it no yoga. You know, it's like, and they come to me and they pay money. I'm going, you're not the body, you're not the mind. You know, you're not doing yoga. What are you doing here? You know, like, and it's funny. You know, it's a joke. You know, but
Good.
it's kind of like, you know, it's what I'm trying to say is like people get there in different ways. UG, you know, was hardcore.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, I'm into UG, you know, hardcore, you know. And he tells it as it is.
yeah. I read him first before I came to Advaita. I mean, he just says he's hardcore.
Yeah,
It's,
it's the best.
it's brutal almost.
Brutal, yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. UG
I
Christian.
think you find yourself
UG
where you're meant to be,
Christianity.
and
UG Christian.
Yeah.
you know,
So
it's-
different
Yeah,
from
he's
people.
brutal.
So different.
Yeah.
he's extremely blunt, and but the things you were describing sometimes seem a bit further out than what's described in Advaita. My suspicion is that more fell away with UG than what's typically described. That's just my sense of it.
It
But,
did. Everything fell away from him.
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
told everyone, "What are you
Yeah.
doing here? Go away." You know, it's like Bob says. Bob says it in the same. I'm not telling you anything. You're not hearing anything. What are you doing here? You know what I mean? It's kind of like. But UG was nicer with you know, the English people, brutal with the Indian people.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it just comes down to how many moments you have regularly. You have, you know, like Eckhart says something. Oh, in 99% of the time, there's no meaning-making factory at all. Then you know, probably you could say, oh, I can be in the enlightened bracket now. It doesn't matter. That's utterly meaningless.
Sure.
And you know, some for me, like 1% or something. You know, right now.
For one thing, just for one.
You know,
one
these
sec-
guys, some of them, you know, it's a lot of the day. You know, it's you know, right up in the 90s. So. You know.
Gareth. Gareth.
So there was like 1 second one. So I bent down to tie up my shoelace, and the whole lot just dropped for like a second. If that, like a fraction of a second. Even just, oh, fuck. What was that?
Once it's recognised, which we're all pointing out, you know, it's recognised, and
That's it.
it takes the
And that's
sting
that.
out of the search, so-called. You know, 'cause
thank the
there
Lord,
is-
you know, the
you know,
free
it's-
will, the free.
Oh, sorry?
It takes the sting out of the search
Okay,
because
sorry.
just those recognitions and you know the questions that are asked, you know the answer anyway, you know, because the answer's all evident. So it's, don't worry.
Gareth, can I just say something? Yeah? Ignore everything. that you're hearing here right now. Absolutely everything. What I intuit with you is you need to look for yourself now. Now. From this point forward, stop trying to get answers from people. Knock it off. It's just keeping you stuck. Have a look for yourself now. Just sit with yourself, by yourself, and turn the fuck in. Seriously, turn in. There's still a centre there. There is. Because if the centre wasn't there, not a single question had come up. Yeah, okay. So, you have to find that. Stop trying to find, what it's going to be like to be.
It's not so much that, it's a process of going from A to B. Just to,
All right.
What's conducive to that full life?
All right. So, if you want to go from A to B, just go from here to here. Sit with it. Sit with it. Because if you want to call A me and B awakening, just sit with that. A to B. And just sit with that. And forget, drop all this conceptual stuff. Even the questions. Like I said, wouldn't matter what anybody said to you. It's not going to be it. It's not.
My point,
Well,
though, you don't know which one's
I
going
wasn't
to
asking the question to get an answer, but saying that sense.
Yeah.
But just to help the process of finding that myself.
Then I've just told you.
Yeah,
Sit the fuck still. Like seriously. Sit still, turn in.
Yeah, but that's why we're here, Terry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're a support group. You know
Absolutely.
Because it's not like you see in India, like Indians are like, you've got, it's different. I mean, we're the separation thing in the West, especially in Australia, because you've got 24 million people.
Yeah. And what just came out of me in relation to you, Gareth, I trust implicitly. Notice I don't say that to everybody. I don't say that to everybody. Sometimes you'll engage, but I sense enough is enough with you. Just knock it off. Like really. Just if you, I don't know how long you've been on this path, and if you're really like, it sounds like you're really quite driven. It sounds like you're really quite focused. You're quite focused, so you're serious about it. All right. Now you find out. Now you find out.
That's the hardest bit.
And it just means you just got to fucking sit there and look. Like, literally look. Look. And stay with it. Stay with it. Stay with it. And when I did that, what I saw was that last little thing that was clinging, which is why I felt this so awkward to get and understand, was there was two things going on. There was something that was real, and there was something that wasn't real. That was real was the sense of presence. Absolutely. Undeniable. I can't say I'm not. Yeah? There was that sense of presence. That was not real was that false identity, that false me, that was hanging on to that and claiming ownership of it. This is my awareness. This is my presence. I feel it in my body. This is my seeing, my hearing. Really close and real basic. Like really, really basic. So incredibly basic. And I saw that. Absolutely saw that. And it operates really, really closely. We're not even aware that it's there. We run through, initially we get all this intellectually. Absolutely. There's no ifs or buts about it. It's all an intellectual process until it becomes known. And then all that drops off. All of it drops off. So sit there. Just sit there and see what happens. When I saw that, when I absolutely saw that, everything just completely dropped away. All of it dropped away. And then I just found myself sitting in that sense of presence.
What would you do though? I mean, would you eyes closed or what?
For me, I sat with not eyes closed. Not eyes closed.
Probably actually doing such.
I just sat. I didn't do this. I fucking didn't. I just sat in a chair like this on my balcony and just looked out at the sky.
And stop doing anything.
And nothing was going on. Like nothing, but there was the absolute awareness of this presence. And the longer I sat with that, the longer it wasn't I there that was sitting with it, okay? But the longer there was the staying with that, the bigger and the brighter that awareness got. And it was nothing that my me thought that awareness was. It's not what me thinks awareness is. It's fucking not. Absolutely not. That's why it's termed a big deal when people awaken to it. Because when the me is completely absent, it gets an opportunity to shine. It opens up. It completely opens up. There's a dead quiet that happens in here for the first time. For the first time. Completely void, completely still. No meanness, no self-identity, nothing. Dead quiet. That's pretty amazing.
And don't try to imagine that.
Yeah.
See that in the,
Yeah.
the beauty of all the pointers and what Krishnamurti is describing and everybody else is describing, it can be very helpful and it can be very misguiding and misleading because it sounds so compelling. But as Bob says, map is never the territory. But once you are in the territory, you see, you look around, now it's so clear what they meant. Like if you're still studying the map, oh shit, no, I can't imagine what the territory is like. Yeah, it kind of described pretty well, but you're still imagining. There is still only the imagination of what he meant. While you find yourself in the territory, poof, and when you find yourself in the territory, it's not up to you because the me has absolutely no existence and it has no power to do anything at all. That's why when you see it, you stop doing anything. Complete surrender. If there's any me, just get it off the way. Stop it. Still it. And then it shines forth. So really, this is, we are over time and Bob is always knocking me down not to go too much over time. So come back again and we'll explore more and good luck. Just sit and do nothing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, kid.